do and make a run at it. What's that, Chris?
We have
when it breaks, we have it first.
It's Sactown Sports breaking news.
This is from Adrian Wojnarowski, not on the Kings front, so everybody can take a breath there. However, it is big Northern California news is Klay Thompson has picked his next destination. And from Woj, the actual Woj ESPN. Breaking, free agent Klay Thompson plans to join the Dallas Mavericks on a 3-year, $50 million deal with a player option. Thompson ends his historic run with the Warriors as a part of a multi-team sign-and-trade deal that will also send Josh Green to Charlotte. So Golden State will be getting something in return for Klay, but Klay Thompson on the move to Dallas, the team that was obviously the Western Conference representation in the NBA Finals this season, and I think that makes a lot of sense and is a big motivating factor for Klay's decision here going to Dallas. It feels to me like Klay wants to, he keeps doing the 1, 2, 3, 4. I think he wants to.
What number is he going to wear too? If Kyrie took his number,
Klay
11,
Thompson,
good point.
Teaming up with the NBA runner-up. Okay, the Dallas Mavericks with Luka, with Kyrie. How many battles has Klay Thompson had when he had to guard Kyrie? And sometimes he was successful, sometimes got that famous Christmas game. Chris, let us not forget that Klay Thompson turned down $24 million a year from the Warriors, 2 years, $48 million, and he is now accepting a 3-year deal with the Mavs where he will get paid $16 million a year. And he was gung-ho on that third year. That's what he wanted, and that's what he got. So I don't know if that's cutting off your nose to spite your face, but Klay Thompson, his time in the Bay is over. I don't know where his boat will go now as he is in Dallas.
I'm sure there's lakes or something,
some lakes, some rivers. So Klay Thompson is headed to Dallas to hang out with Luka and Kyrie Irving as Dallas moves off of Tim Hardaway Jr. and gets a heck of a replacement for Tim Hardaway Jr. and Klay Thompson. I know Klay Thompson, we had fun with him, Chris, when he went 0 for 10 in the play-in game.
His final game as a Warrior, by the way.
His final game as a Warrior, 0 for 10.
Grand opening, grand closing.
Losing to the Sacramento Kings, and now he is headed to Dallas to really, I know, Chris, and I can't wait. There's so much that's going to come out about this stuff. Yeah. And I need a Warriors book now. It's coming out now. I would say
call it post-punch.
Something happened last season. I would venture to say that Klay and Draymond aren't on great terms. Yeah. I got a gut feeling about that because you have to sign off. The way that this whole thing went down, it's just bizarre.
Yeah.
So this is what Bob Myers wanted to get away from. This is a complete mess for the Warriors. You know, they get back who was it? Josh Green?
No, Josh Green's going to Charlotte. We still don't even know what the Warriors are getting back themselves.
Okay. So Klay Thompson is out.
Yeah.
The 37 points in one quarter against the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah,
Those days are over as he heads to his last dance, you would assume of his career to happen in Dallas as he joins the runner-up for the NBA championship, and he joins Luka and Kyrie. I don't really know how that's all going to work, but these are two guys in Kyrie and Luka that they demand a lot of double teams. And Klay Thompson, when you talk about spacing, he's going to get a bunch of open shots.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, instead of Derrick Jones Jr. taking those shots in the corner, it's going to be Klay Thompson.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And Woj is putting out here as a secondary tweet, Thompson had 4-year offers for more money, but taking less was offset by the chance of winning a 5th championship with the Mavericks and the difference in state taxes as well, something we've talked about when it came to the Orlando front. So, yes, even though Klay will be making $16 million a year, I believe he will be taking home all $16 million of that and not probably like 55% of it or whatever it would be. So, That clearly makes a big difference. And you're right. Like this situation for Klay is going to be incredible. Luka, as we know, has the ball in his hands more than anybody else in the league. Kyrie as well. And Klay's just going to be chilling in the corner. I think the entire time they're going to use Klay as a distraction to try and get defenders off of Luka, to try and get defenders off of Kyrie as well. But you can't leave Klay. And I think that's the most important thing. You add him to PJ Washington, to Derek Lively. That is a really, really scary five. And I think Dallas has definitely just put themselves firmly in at least the top 5 of the Western Conference moving forward. And I think the best part about this too, for the Dallas perspective, is you don't really, I won't say you don't need Klay, but if Klay goes out for 15, 20 games, I would think Dallas can survive. And I wasn't so sure if Klay was going to go to some other situations, how reliant they were going to be on him.
The Splash Bros are no mo.
Yeah.
It's over. That era is officially over. And the last team they played as the Splash Brothers was the Sacramento Kings.
Delicious. 0 for 10, man. Yeah, that is going to live in Sacramento Kings hearts for a very, very long time. And, it was absolutely an amazing run. Don't want to be all disrespectful. Like, they definitely did their thing. 4 championships is an accomplishment that not many people in this era have been able to say. Forget this era in the history of basketball. They did their thing for sure, but it's kind of disappointing. And I talked about it a couple weeks ago, but this is the greatest dynasty that we have post Spurs. And, to see it end in this fashion is pretty disappointing. I know Tony Parker eventually played that one season with the Hornets that everybody forgets about, but it felt like the Warriors, more than any other team or dynasty, even specifically of this era, was so keen on keeping these guys around and doing whatever it took to just make sure Steph, Klay, and Dre were going to retire Warriors. And, even from Andre Iguodala having that brief stint in Memphis and in Miami, it just feels like this isn't how the Warriors envisioned this thing ending all those years ago. And it felt to me like, and you could argue it's been the downfall of their entire run here, they tried to get too cute. And I think instead of just kind of leaning into, riding off into the sunset, these guys tried to continue to be light years ahead. And I think we're seeing now that this is what happens when you aren't light years ahead, or you think you are, and you're actually just operating like everybody else.
Yeah. And that is why, it's almost as if they have to say Kuminga is untouchable, because I don't know, Bob Myers is gone now, but they had
to have something, right?
They had the craziest opportunity. And I know I got into it with my buddies. Like I said, I was hanging out with them in Monterey this weekend, and, Bay Area guys, Warrior guys. And, they had the conversation. It was the James Wiseman conversation kind of turning into Jamarcus Russell. We'll talk about Jamarcus Russell a little bit later. And what he's been up to.
How did he stay relevant?
Yeah. It's and crazy. It was not for good reasons. Yeah. And really, they needed a big man. Everybody else who needed a big man would have taken James Wiseman. And maybe that's true.
Sure.
But you had a crazy opportunity due to injury to truly have 2 timelines. And now you have no timeline.
None.
And it's all about Steph Curry. And that's really it. And whatever is left of Draymond and his podcast. I can't wait for that first podcast and what he'll do there. So the Dallas Mavericks, to recap, if you're just now joining us, Klay Thompson is headed to Dallas, to Texas, to play with former foe Kyrie Irving and all those battles that they've had, and Luka Doncic, okay? And the Dallas Mavericks have acquired Quentin Grimes and also Najee Marshall, who a lot of people thought was going to be headed to Sacramento. And Chris, every time we bring up the taxes, somebody does this every single time. And it's on the 916 from the 916. He only does not pay 13% state tax. Thank you. That is from the Woj report. That is not Chris and I talking about the taxes. That was in the Woj report. That is not from us bringing that up, but appreciate it as we break down all things Klay Thompson and the free agency frenzy continues. When we get back, we continue to talk about how this changes the West. Is the East stronger than the West now? What do the Warriors do next? And of course, Sacramento Kings, you're on the clock, not just for Devin Carter, but what will you do next? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.